welcome back to the Slice Tennis Podcast. I'm flying solo today. Stephen Boughton here, your host. JP is on the road, I believe, somewhere in the south, covering the football. That's all I know. Very high-profile, secretive guy. But no, you can go follow him on his social media handles to see what he's up to. But what we're up to is talking about last week, talking about what's going on in this world. It seems crazy to me right now, but maybe it's just because I'm Canadian. Trump tariffs, now they're on pause. Things are going down. We've got Davis Cup happening, controversy happening. This episode, I will be going through our normal stuff. I'll talk about my week. I'll talk about best bets of the day. I'll talk about scores from ATP, WTA, Davis Cup. And at the end, I'm going to go through the last video I put out of the last episode of The Slice and personally react to all the comments on the video. I think we have like 25 right now. And some of them are crazy, accusing me of racism against South Americans because I said Christian Garin should have kept playing. So that's going to be funny. Stay tuned till the end of this episode or skip through to catch those. I haven't even read some of them, but I'm just going to respond to them. Okay. So yeah. Welcome back to the Slice Tennis Podcast. As we said, it is presented by Betway. And our sponsors at Betway are near and dear to us. They help the Slice come through every week, and we appreciate them. So last night I went on the Betway feed, and I talked about a couple of bets that I liked, mainly in Rotterdam and Dallas, the ATP 500. So they got it going on. But before we do that, we got to talk about what we're talking about. Hit an ace with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses, plus 50 bonus spins no matter what the result. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. Offer is only available for new customers only. Terms and conditions apply. Offer not available in Ontario. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. That's key. So yeah, I was looking at in Dallas, I was looking at Alex Mickelson. Okay. And these are, so Alex Mickelson, I took him as the outright winner because I love the outrights. And they had him at plus 2,000. So I don't know if you saw on the social medias me talking about this, but he played great at the Australian Open. He was looking like a much higher rank than he is currently. At the Australian Open, yeah, he made the fourth round, losing to Demonauer, but he beat Tsitsipas, McCabe, and Khachanov on the way to losing to Demonauer. But he was seriously impressive, and he's one of those young guys. I believe he's only 19. He's 20. Born in 2004. Again, disturbing. But yeah, he's unbelievable with his power. He's got a huge serve, bangs it. He's got just kind of simple ground strokes in the baseline, but he's able to change direction on his backhand so easily. That's one of the things that killed Tsitsipas when they played. So yeah, I just feel like plus 2,000 is way too low of odds for him in a tournament in Dallas where, you know, the highest seeded player is Taylor Fritz. And to be honest, I feel like Mickelson could beat anyone in that field on a given day, especially on a fast hard court. So that's one of the best bets of the day, I think. And then also Daniil Medvedev in Rotterdam, which has a much more densely packed draw as far as the top players in the world. Daniil Medvedev at plus 400 to win the tournament. Yeah, I just feel like it's Daniil Medvedev's time. He's got 2 kids now. He's definitely frustrated after his performance at the Australian Open, losing to Lerner Tien. So I like Daniil Medvedev there at plus 400. Those are your best bets of the day. Shout out to our sponsor, Betway, who is the presenting sponsor of The Slice. Now, we're going to break down here in a second the results so far are on the ATP, WTA Tour, and Davis Cup. But if you're looking to watch the ATP, you need to be subscribed to Tennis TV. That's right, the Tennis TV. The Slice is presented in part by Tennis TV, which is currently in the middle of, or just starting really, frantic February. 350 plus matches live and on demand. If you want to watch Rotterdam, Dallas, Indian Wells, Miami, anything in between, you can watch them all in perfect high definition on Tennis TV, on your phone, on your iPad, on your laptop, on your TV. It's awesome. I'm subscribed, been subscribed for years, and now they've come on board as a sponsor of the Slice. So shout out to them. If you want to try it out and you want to treat yourself, click the link below, get in the game. And yeah, I really promise once you're in there, it costs like about 2 Starbucks coffees at this point per month. And you'll just be a much more in tune tennis fan. And it's an amazing viewing experience as a product. So shout out to Tennis TV. Okay, let's check in on Rotterdam. We have had some matches already happen. We have Hubert Hurkacz destroying Flavio Caboli 6-3, 6-2. That's a good win for Hurkacz because he's been needing wins. His ranking slipped. I believe he's like 15, 16 in the world now. He's been a top 10er for a while before that. And yeah, I think he deserves to be there. So he's going back to the drawing board with Nicholas Massu and I believe Ivan Lendl in his camp as coaches. So that's a good win for him there. Daniil Medvedev beats Stanislas Wawrinka in 3 sets to start his tournament. So he squiggles through that match, lost the first set in a tiebreaker, and then won 6-4, 6-1. So obviously the younger, more energetic player, but Stan getting wild cards, still playing, still grinding. You got to respect that. And then Tsitsipas beats Harold Mayo 6-1, 7-5. So that's a good. Again, all wins for Tsitsipas right now, I'd say, are good wins. So he's on track. If he can win one more match, he'll potentially probably play Medvedev, but he's going to be playing the winner of Berrettini and Griekspoor next. Griekspoor is at home in the Netherlands, so that will never be easy. So yeah, that's Rotterdam. Let's check in on Dallas. This is just the first day of both of these tournaments going down. Rinky Hijikita beat Manarino, so he's through to the second round. Arnaldi beat Chris Eubanks 6-3, 6-4. Davidovich Fokina beat Brandon Holt 6-1, 7-5. Francis Tiafoe got through Taro Daniel in 3 sets. Took him 3 sets. 6-1, 3-6, 6-4. And yeah, so both these tournaments are just started and getting underway. Yeah, and the last episode of the Slice, which we saw, you should be able to, go look at the breakdown I gave of Felix Auger-Aliassime winning in Montpellier, which was great for him. Let's check in now on the Mutawalla Abu Dhabi Open, presented by the Abu Dhabi Sports Council. That's got to be one of the worst names in the history of sports for a tournament. The Abu Dhabi WTA 500. Let's call it that. Alina Rybakina is there. She this match, I don't think there's been a couple matches played the same. Rybakina is the 1 seed. Badosa is the number 2 seed, and Leylah Fernandez is there as the 8th seed. Putintseva is the 4th seed. So you got to love these small draws as well. I personally love them. Kasatkina is the 3rd seed. The only match that I see that's been playing is Kruger beat Kessler, both the American matchup in Abu Dhabi. Gotta love it. Okay, and I realize now we haven't talked about my week, which we'll get to. So stay tuned for that. And then Davis Cup. Let's look at the results from the qualifiers. Let's just run through them. So the Netherlands are through. I believe that is because they would have, did they win last year? I forget now. That's embarrassing. Okay, but Netherlands are through to play Argentina, who won 3-2 versus Norway. Australia won 3-1 over Sweden. Belgium beat Chile, which we'll talk about because that was obviously controversial. Belgium beat Chile 3-1. Hungary beat Canada, unfortunately, 3-2. Austria beat Finland 4-0. That's actually a pretty big upset. Austria without Dominic Thiem beats Finland 4-0. Germany beats Israel 3-1. Japan beats Great Britain. That's another upset, 3-2. So Great Britain's out. And the USA beats Chinese Taipei 4-0. Korea loses to Czechia 4-0. Denmark beats Serbia. That's another upset. Actually, a lot of upsets in this qualifying round of the Davis Cup. And Spain beats Switzerland. Croatia beats Slovakia. And France bagels Brazil 4-0 with Joao Fonseca going down in that draw, losing a match there for Brazil. So before I go into commenting on the comments or replying to the comments from my last Slice video, I wanted to talk about my week because everyone cares about that. But no, JP wouldn't typically ask me, Steven, how's your week? So let me go through my week. What happened? I mean, the Australian Open, if I'm not wrong, ended about a week ago. So I've still been kind of in a daze from that after spending a lot of time covering that. Thank you for watching, being involved in the coverage. But I had a good friend here from out of town, still do over the last few days. So that's been great, hanging out. I played tennis with him. He's a tennis player, and another friend of mine. And I haven't played in a couple months. I think I played once casually with a few guys who don't really play tennis. And then since my baby's been born 4.5 months ago, I haven't really played. So yeah, that was great to get out and play, because I always find, and I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but when you haven't played for a couple months and you go out and hit, it's actually usually pretty decent. Like, I can connect the ball, I can kind of swing through shots and time it well. Obviously, you feel horrific body-wise. Like, my body's like, I'm in pain today, my back's sore. That's part of being 30, but also just like not warming up and just kind of hitting. Which we kind of only thought we'd have half an hour, and then we ended up playing for over an hour. But so the first time's usually okay, and then the second hit or any times after that, you're like, oh, I should be better now. I've hit once. I find that you go out and play worse the second time than you did the first time. First time, you're just going off complete muscle memory. The second hit, third hit, you're kind of like trying to play good again, and you're timing, and you haven't put the reps in to play good, so you usually don't. That's what I find. But we played, and I had fun, and it felt good to just swing through some big one-handed backhands, make connection, make it feel good, and some forehands. But I've been thinking about going to a two-handed backhand and trying to win more matches and tournaments when I play, because the one-hander is awesome and it's nice, and I can hit it really good. Maybe I'll put out some more videos of me hitting a one-handed backhand recently, but I feel like I could win more matches with a two-hander, and I kind of want to win matches. That's the mode I'm in, rather than just having fun, which is why I originally switched away from a two-hander in juniors to a one-hander, because I was like, I'm not going anywhere with tennis. Might as well just have fun. But yeah, what else has been going on? I'm in Canada, so tariffs, Trump tariffs. That's crazy. We saw him coming from a ways off. I think he ran on that as part of his platform, and that he's going to potentially use tariffs to help out the USA. And I always thought that the Canadians would work out a deal, because, as our leaders have been saying, we've been friends forever. All these different ways the Canada stepped up to help the US in wars, in the LA fires recently, in 9/11, all these different ways. And Trump comes in and says, hey, screw you guys. You got to do this. And they pose it as like, because there's fentanyl coming across the border, et cetera, et cetera. Well, there's a border, and you can actually guard it from both sides. So if it's coming in, it's not just us letting it in, it's also you letting it in. So anyways, this was crazy. And in Canada, it's like a big threat, because obviously Canada is way smaller than the US. And yeah, we could get smoked by their tariffs. But in general, and then over the weekend at the hockey games, which we play up here much better than the US, whenever the US anthem was sung, they were getting booed hard by the whole stadium, all the way across the country, which I thought was awesome. And I felt very patriotic about that. We were essentially almost in an economic war. And guess what? Monday, day one of the tariffs, Trudeau calls Trump twice, and they work out a deal to do what kind of Trump was wanting them to do, which I think is a good idea. Protect the border, do what they said. It's like, whatever, capitulate. Yeah, it's kind of when you have to make a deal with someone who's way more powerful than you. You kind of have to. Don't let the tariffs happen. And so they've paused for a month. But this isn't a politics podcast, but my personal theory is Trump ran on them. He said a campaign promise, I'm going to use tariffs. He had to at least put them in, even for one day. So now he can say back, oh, I said I was going to do tariffs, and I did them, even though they never actually really got implemented. And I don't think they actually will. But anyways, my patriotic heart juices got pumping, seeing our response. We got a lot of things to change in Canada to make ourselves not so reliant on the US. And we should have done that 20 years ago. So anyways, that was a wild week. That's the week. Last thing, Luka Doncic gets traded from the Mavericks the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers. I played college basketball very poorly on the second tier, and I was a bench player. So I used to follow basketball a lot, but I've become miffed by the NBA. I can't watch it. To me, a lot of these stars seem like just pampered brats nowadays compared to the old school days of like Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, LeBron when he started. Now he's a pampered brat as well, in my opinion. But the Doncic trade to the Lakers is absolutely crazy. People are comparing it to Gretzky getting traded from Edmonton to the Los Angeles Kings, or like it's just the biggest trade in the NBA history. So I've seen all these conspiracy theories about it. I can't wrap my head around it. I felt depressed when I saw it. Like I loved Luka Doncic, even just watching the little bit that I had them getting the finals last year. I don't know. If you're an NBA fan and a tennis fan, leave your thoughts on that below, because to me, that's mind blowing, and I can't really figure it out. So anyway, so that's my week. Good week. And then we put out a show yesterday talking about the Davis Cup and talking about Rotterdam, Dallas. And I made my comments, which you can click by watching the video here, saying that in essence, it was a mistake so Zizou Bergs, if you haven't seen the video, go watch it. Look it up. It's everywhere. Zizou Bergs celebrates when he breaks Christian Garin, and he jumps around and he's kind of running. Players run to their bench, but they have to crisscross at the net between the umpire chair and the net post. And obviously, Bergs is pumped up and he is running still, and he doesn't maybe notice that Garin doesn't stop, even though it looks like Garin can see that he's running through. They both don't want to wait for each other. And Bergs kind of tries to like jump through, but in the process, like clips Garin in the face with his shoulder. Garin goes down like he got shot in the head. And my opinion on that was that, so what happened was he went away to get like medical timeout, because he did get hit pretty hard in the head, I will say. He had a red mark. His eye had red area surrounding it. And apparently he wanted Bergs to get disqualified, even though he had just gotten broken. I believe it was the third set, so he's probably going to lose the match. He wanted Bergs to get disqualified, and he refused to come back and play. So the umpire was like, I'm not disqualifying him. I think it was a mistake. Sorry. He wasn't doing it in anger. He wasn't hitting a ball in anger. It wasn't even part of his celebration. He was just running back to the bench, and you guys collided with each other. He collided with you, but you could have also stopped. I don't know what was said, but he said, no, you have to play. Time violation, game penalty for not coming back. And then that game made the match be over, and Chile's out. Belgium's through, and that's an insane thing. So what I said on that, my opinion was, I said Garin went down, I felt like dramatically, and I said he went down like a South American or European soccer player, like I've watched my whole life. You out here in Canada, where we're tough and we play hockey and we don't pretend to have injuries, we'd always watch the World Cup and see everyone from around the world essentially playing soccer or football, diving on the soccer pitch, and we always made fun of them. So that's what I did. I said they look like a South American or European football player going down. I said, Christian Garin, you got to play. You got to get back in the match, play, maybe break him back. You can't let your country down like that by not playing. And then I've gotten cooked for that by some commenters on YouTube, which I will go through now and respond to, because I haven't done that, and this sounds like fun. So first comment from Ramzetube FY8 I don't know, 18 hours ago, says, it's outrageous that your basis for saying that Garin flopped is that he is South American and hence like a soccer player. By the way, even in soccer, if you take down a player unintentionally, it's a foul, and you can get booked for acting recklessly in a way that puts others in the pinch in danger. To me, Berg should have been disqualified for reckless and dangerous behavior. Sounds good. I disagree. I know I played soccer. I played rep soccer here in Canada. You're right. You can get booked if you take down a player unintentionally. But my point is, he took down a player unintentionally, but Garin acted like he got like shot in the head. Like, I don't think it probably wasn't great, but people that I know just get up, walk to your bench, and be like, dude, what the heck? Bergs is apologizing. You kind of got to just take his apology. And I don't think quitting on the match essentially is the right response. But I appreciate your comment. Thanks for the comment. Kovan at KHOAVU said, a shoulder to the head is an immediate send-off in rugby, even if it's accidental. Fair enough. This isn't rugby, so it doesn't apply, because he was clearly not intentionally or it's not a contact sport, so there's no rules around contact. There's rules around, I think, unsportsmanlike conduct, and I don't think that was that. I think that was a clear, obvious accident. That's my opinion. Okay, here's a long one from John Bones Mahomes. This guy knows about going down easy. Mahomes. Okay, so Garin versus Bergs. This is what he says. Shapovalov hit the chair umpire by accident. It does not matter. It's a clear default. Novak hit the line judge by accident. It does not matter. It's a clear default. Bergs hit Garin in the face with a shoulder by accident. It does not matter. It's a clear default. Whoever says, man, what are you talking about? It's just an accident. Yes, so Shapovalov hitting the chair umpire. So was Novak hitting the line judge. Yes, Garin wanted to take full advantage of the situation, but who cares? He was hit with a shoulder in his head. Okay, there's an obvious difference between this situation and the Novak and Shapovalov one. No, Shapovalov was obviously in frustration, smashing a ball out of the court and hit an umpire in frustration. Novak was clearly hitting the ball back towards the thing in frustration, although I will say much less frustration, and it really wasn't that hard. And that line judge also went down even worse than Christian Garin. She should have got up. She should have kept playing. Djokovic shouldn't have been defaulted, but you do have to look where you hit your ball. This was player on player. This was clearly an accident, and Bergs wasn't angry, wasn't doing anything. He was just going back to his bench, running, which you're allowed to do. It's not a pool. You don't run on the deck. And he accidentally bumped into Garin. Garin, to me, looks like he walked into that contact intentionally, didn't try to avoid it. So I think the umpire saw that and wasn't getting played by the dive. That's just my opinion. Okay, John Bones Mahomes, but I appreciate your comment. Thanks for the comment. Okay, ends AZN Pokering 4184. He says, I think you should revise your opinion on the incident in Davis Cup. To say Zizou Bergs did nothing wrong is just completely incorrect. I agree that it most likely was unintentional, but it was grossly negligent. He is a pretty tall player. I'm going to fact check this. Sorry. Zizou Bergs. I don't think he's actually that tall. Okay, he's 6'1". I don't know if that's tall. I'm 6 feet. Let's just say you're right. It's tall. He's a pretty tall guy and ran into Garin pretty hard. It's a crystal clear default. Intention doesn't matter in cases of gross negligence like this. It's why players are defaulted for accidentally hitting lines person or someone in the crowd, but when they hit a ball not in play. Just look at what happened in Novak in the US Open. Oh my gosh, this is such a long comment. It also sets a dangerous precedent if players are allowed to injure their opponents, but as long as there wasn't any obvious intent, then they aren't punished in any way. It obviously isn't good for the sport. However, I do agree that Garin should man up and play once the umpire makes the judgment call not default Bergs, even though he should have been defaulted. Umpires make shitty calls that players have to deal with in nearly every match, so it's pretty unprofessional of Garin to just refuse to play after the call doesn't go his way. All right, I think we're pretty much on the same page there, other than the fact that I don't think Zizou should have got defaulted, and you do, but I think that's a fair point to disagree on. So appreciate your comment, Pokering 4184. All right, Enrique Zieli. The Norway player, I think you mean Belgian player, should have been disqualified. Imagine that happened in a Grand Slam and a player hit another one. Nothing wrong, even if it is an accident, should have been disqualified. What are you talking about? And this bias because he is Latin in football. You are in the limit of discrimination. Novak was disqualified for hitting a line upper with the ball accidentally. You totally lost it with this one. Again, Novak was frustrated. Shapovalov was hitting a ball in anger. That's a different thing. You're not allowed to lash out and your anger hurt someone else. This wasn't lashing out. This was literally an accident. They bumped into each other and Zizou was running hard. So I disagree, but I appreciate your comment, Enrique Zieli. Maui 7301. All right, another long one. Oh, not too long. I am really sorry, mate. I've never posted a negative comment in my whole life before, but this is also the most stupid YouTube video and line of reasoning I've ever seen for a long time. You do not provide any reasonable argument whatsoever. He faked because he is South American. Seriously? And you do not see any of the reasons why, of course. Bergs should have been disqualified. I suggest you take this video down as soon as possible. It is just too stupid and therefore pretty embarrassing. No offense, just being honest. Hey, I appreciate you just being honest. I was also just being honest based on what I see. Italian, it's not just South Americans. Like I said also Europeans there. South Americans, Europeans, Italians, literally any soccer player, even the ones in Canada here in the US, all flop. And I was making the comparison between what I saw there and him flopping like a soccer player. And in this case, a Chilean soccer player. So wasn't discrimination, just having a little bit of fun, but tennis fan kingdom around the world, a lot of you guys can't take a joke, which is fine. But I'm just being honest. Thank you for your comment, Maui. Juan Pablo Vero. Your opinion has no real basis / arguments apart of mere and basic racism. Oh boy. Quote, you just got to play, you say, but don't think the Belgian got an advantage out of the clash. This is not a contact sport where people hit each other regularly. Players must not hit each other regardless of the intentions. So like, let's put this another way. So say you're walking by and they're crossing and one guy accidentally like trips the other guy accidentally. The guy should just be disqualified because it's unintentional. I don't get it. Like, it's really, the guy got hit in the head, not insanely hard, and I think could have prevented it if he had any situational awareness at all. You literally could make the case that Garin ran into Bergs as well. Like, who's to say who has the right of way there? I don't know. So yeah, it's not racism. There's nothing about South America isn't a race, by the way. So yeah, I think we're good here. Thank you for your comment, Juan Pablo. I think that if Garin played and used that to his advantage, maybe he could have, I don't know, won the match. Felipe ACR, go to comment soccer then and stop talking about tennis. It's a non-contact sport. Ridiculous. I don't want to talk about soccer. I don't think people in soccer want to hear me talk about it. So, but I appreciate your belief in me, Felipe. And I agree. Tennis is not a contact sport. This was literally outside of the game. The point wasn't even going on. This was an accident. I don't think he should have been disqualified. And then Filu425 says, Garin went full on Karen. An apology is more than enough. So he probably agrees with me saying that Bergs apologizing adamantly was enough and Garin should have kept playing. Filu, thank you for the support. First one. And Sultan32 Sultan says, as an American, I fully agree with your comment so much. Shake my head. That's what he says. Right on. Love it. And then another guy said, Collega says, Garin went full Karen mode with a crying face, which I think is true. That's hilarious. Collega427, thanks for your comment. At Hulk-Hogan1, I just tuned into this channel for the first time in a while, and I got to say, the intro clip totally sucks. Such a dark tone. Make it more upbeat, dude. Okay, dude. I'll take a look at it. Thanks for your comment. Italo Rivera 2021 says, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. Your comma, it was an accident, but that accident result in a player injured is not physical contact in tennis. I think I do have a clue what I'm talking about. I've been doing it for 8 years. Quite a few people tune into our show to listen, but it's okay to not share my opinion, and it's okay to think that I don't know what I'm talking about. I appreciate the comment. I respectfully disagree. And last one, at Ruffalo Laporte says, so the guy refused to play because he got bumped into ? Maybe it's because I grew up playing American football, but that is like toddler behavior to me. Ruffalo Laporte, I think I see this situation the same as you. Okay, let's look at one of the replies to it. Gregor Weaver says, in Spanish, translate to English, it's the rules of tennis. A stark rebuttal saying it's the rules of tennis. So obviously there's some disagreement with me on whether or not Christian Garin should have been defaulted. I don't think he should have. Or he should have got Bergs defaulted. I don't think Bergs should have been defaulted. I think Garin should have. Maybe the umpire should have given Bergs a warning. Hey, don't run through here anymore. Don't bump into the other guy. But I really think Garin had to keep playing, had to at least try to win the match, the tie for his country on the court. But he tried to win by trying to get the other guy defaulted. And I don't personally respect that. So that's all. I appreciate your guys' comments. This was fun to get in them. I'm going to set an alarm on my phone to get a mailbag for next week's episode for JP and I. We're both back, hopefully doing this together. And until then, this is the Slice Tennis Podcast. Shorter episode today, but we're going to be checking back in on Dallas, Rotterdam, Abu Dhabi as the tournaments go on and the matches get going. Stay tuned to the Slice. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being here. We will see you next time here on the show.